Hey everyone, it's baze.djunkiii transmitting from Hamburg, Germany, back with a new video, well, back with my chart haul for January 2024. A new year, a lot of records to show, or like more than a handful this time, and we're starting out with one you've seen like in an unboxing video which came in from Berlin actually. DDM Drowning Dog and Malatestor. I've been doing an unboxing video on this, so I'm gonna touch on this only briefly. I've written a review on that album on my website nightstyles.de that you can read like in detail and stuff. So here's the album, most beautiful album artwork, and what this is actually is like a recommendation for everyone who's into like underground hip-hop and rap. Actually Drowning Dog and Malatestor are defining their style as electro rap, which is partly suitable, but they're also like dabbling with like elements of like global bass meets hip-hop fusion things, a little bit of world, not really world music, but like non-traditional Western influences coming in as well. Some influences from the bass music scene, from dubstep and grime and all that, like mixed in their specific style. Proper hip-hop album. Double LP from Berlin, actually a 4-label collaboration, which also involves their own label, EK Records, which is like short for Entartete Kunst. So recommended stuff if you're into hip-hop. The next 7-inch came to me, not as a promo, but sometimes I guess I'm at a point in my life where records just come to me. A beautiful butterfly on one side. And this is, I'm totally butchering the name because it's a Zimbabwean name and I'm not too sure how to pronounce this. I'm gonna go with TK Macha, kind of. Where's My Mind? A 7-inch release on the 4AD label of all places, which to me is interesting because 4AD also was the home to X Mal Deutschland way back in the days, which was like goth and post-punk and stuff from Germany, but TK Macha is definitely couldn't be further away from that. So I got this and I really love the instrumental side of Where's My Mind, which is like the most fascinating synth-driven, like dope beat, instrumental hip-hop, neon bass, whatever you might call it, instrumental piece I've heard in a while. Apparently the original side, the vocal side, is a cover version of a Pixies track, which I'm not familiar with. Like I couldn't name one song by the Pixies actually, but the instrumental side of Where's My Mind is really banging. So if you're into anything like dope beat or neon or maybe even vaporwave, you will love this. And this is one of the rare tracks, I guess, which have a hip-hop beat you could also play like in a goth or synth pop setting, and people will go mad to this, I guess. So highly recommended stuff. Next one, it's another 7-inch Consi That Deep, which I found in the record store. The label apparently is, if I remember correctly, Sound of the Dance, and this is the first release. Beautiful artwork, presumably pressed, and not only presumably, pressed in Hamburg at Ramona Records actually, where I'm gonna hit or like touchdown tomorrow, I guess. So this is interesting stuff, and definitely I love dubstep still, and this is probably one of the deepest, darkest dubstep releases I've heard in a while, released on this like beautiful yellowish, dark yellowish, transparent or translucent vinyl. That Deep on the A side is also the title track for this one. And yeah, this is like, if you've been listening to dubstep for ages and you still remember My Demons, the epic album released by DJ Distance, or as just Distance I guess, in 2004 or 2005, so way back when dubstep was still in its like kind of infancy, and this had this album very urban, dark, but not brutal, but like dark atmospheric touch with a lot of interesting vocal samples, and there's still a certain kind of grittiness and heaviness to it. This is very similar to this, but here the samples, the vocal samples are German actually, which is even more interesting. So That Deep EP by Consi, I don't know how many of those were pressed. I presume only a few hundred, maybe 200, max 3, I guess. And I don't know where it's distributed, but if you like 7 inches and dubstep, this is one to check out. The next one is one for the house music fans, actually. Kai Alce featuring Ash Lauren, Underground and Black. Of course, this is my handwriting on the Endatel label. This is how we pronounce it in the distribution. NDATL from New York via Detroit to Atlanta. And yeah, this is house, deep house, a little bit of on the tribal side, I guess, from Atlanta actually, where Kai Alce is residing right now. Beautiful stuff with a lot of spoken word things where Ash Lauren like tells the story, or like not really the story, but gives a lot of like clues and like lists a lot of like labels and producers who are coming from the black community and were responsible for like the rise of techno and house music, and how and basically like embraces how black culture was like important for house music, and also like names a lot of like typical black things like cornrows and whatever, so they're like from the black community as like influences of house music. So on the Endatel music label, Underground and Black, straight out of Atlanta, touchdown in Hamburg. Really enjoy this. And yeah, all the records on the label come in those like white sleeves, so very basic, which I really love. So no fuzz, no bullshit, just music, which is important to me. So the next one, a re-release. You might recognize the label on Boy Records. Yeah, they're back. Cybex Faktor Die Schöpfung. This is like early 90s, I guess 1991 on Boy Records originally, now re-released and distributed via the DBH music label distribution. And yeah, this one has been kind of influential to me, of course, because this was another track featured on one of the early techno tracks compilation on Six Music, on Six Records back in the day, which I bought like a lot of, like the first 5 or 6 volumes, I guess, and maybe 7. And in the early days, they were one of my means to at least grasp a bit of what is available on the electronic music market. When I was like, in 1991, I was 13, so I was learning a lot. This is, of course, early techno, Agreppo. On the flip side, there's a track called No Rock, which goes along the line of rock music is suspicious and with a lot of like electric guitar samples and stuff. But if you're into like the Agreppo sound and early techno sound, new beat, EBM stuff I've been talking about a lot recently, this one will be falling into your like lane, I guess. And the next one, yeah, F is Warp Records. Well, I won't take this out of the shrink wrap for reasons, but you have all seen this, I guess. Have you? Probably the logo will be familiar here. This is FX Twin, Black Box Live Recorder, and well, boy, I gotta say something about this. So the first thing is FX Twin will FX, that's for sure. And what you got musically is like, well, muffled breakbeats, playful melodies, a certain melancholia, but still dance floor friendliness, a little bit of jungle influences. So nothing new on the musical front. It's a proper good FX Twin release, like not groundbreaking anymore, but well, he's been around for like more than 2 decades, and we've heard it all, and music has evolved and stuff. So the beats are a little bit muffled. On purpose, I guess, but they're not as hard-hitting on the dance floor as they used to be. But yes, FX Twin, it's good, came to me proper, cannot complain about the music. But the cover, well, from a graphic design perspective, I get this. And I get this because of the logo and stuff, and I would have been perfectly fine with this as a plain 12-inch sleeve. And no extra gimmicks and fuzz. But getting this out, well, you have this on the that's the first bullshit. On the plastic foil, you have this sticker. This cover is one of those like sticky wears out a lot, but still like sticks to whatever protective foil or cover you put around it. And then you have this like fold out weird panoramic diorama thing, which is nice from a graphic design perspective and would have been perfect as a collector's edition. But as a DJ, I don't want to like fuzz around for like 5 minutes just to get one record out I want to play like in the club or in a bar context or on a radio show. So please, Warp Records, next time give us a proper, simple, plain 12-inch sleeve edition, and no, none of those fancy bullshit which is like featured on here or in here, because it folds out like three-dimensionally, and therefore, if you go to the store, I guess you pay 25 euros for that right now, which with a proper plain sleeve it would have been like 8 euro cheaper, and more people would have bought this. So you haven't done the music a favor. And the last one is a re-release, actually, on the Kepler label. This is Vladislav Delay N10, originally released in 2000, I guess, by the infamous Mill Plateau label. Beautiful cover. There is another album with like a pinkish artwork coming along with that as well. It's a re-release, and well, for some reason back in the day I've been sleeping on Vladislav Delay, kind of, so I've never followed his music big time. Here is one side of the album. Here's the other one. So basically all super long ambient tracks, like most of them spanning like more than 15 minutes. Very minimal, washed out, dreamy, beautiful harmonics. A little bit of clicks and cuts here, some like subdued rhythms, but basically more than an hour of music to just drift away to time-dissolving ambient stuff. But yeah, I've rediscovered this, and this is one of the albums that came to me as well, in a way. So yeah, interesting stuff. It's definitely timeless, so being released originally in 2000 makes no difference. Still proper good glacial, dreamy ambient stuff, and back in the day I was more on the, well, I loved the experimental ambient, like drone, electroacoustic noise stuff, but and also like the drum and bass hardcore stuff, of course. But I've been sleeping on that kind of like IDM clicks and cuts, proper classic ambient stuff a lot. So and I still discover new things that have been released like many years ago, like this one. So if you're into proper ambient music, this is a good one for sure. And this is it, my like stack of records I liked throughout the past 4 weeks, I guess, most, and the new ones I liked most. The more news to come, maybe tomorrow, if I get to this. If I'm not getting to this more on like Saturday, but there's big news to come, and watch out for further things. Bass Junkie out for now. See you on the next one.